Good evening. This is Eswatini TV News Bulletin at 8, read to you by myself, Lesotho, alongside Zamanzi Manze. First up, here's a look at our headlining stories. Congregants who were part of the Ascension Day Service prayed for their majesties and for the country to conquer all prevailing challenges. The acting Prime Minister Themba Masuku has delivered a message to King of the Lesotho nation, King Letsie III. The acting Minister for Labour has appointed a committee that will manage Exminers Hospital in the kingdom. And now the news in detail. The Ascension Day Service, which was commemorated by the country at the National Church in Lobamba, drew Christians from different denominations who celebrated the Ascension of Jesus Christ. Christians prayed for their majesties and interceded for the country to overcome its challenges. Their majesties were represented by His Royal Highness Prince Lonkokhela.
Ascension Day is traditionally celebrated on the 40th day after Easter Sunday. This is an important day to the Christian faith as it signifies the end of Jesus' work on earth. It shows that Jesus overcame death and that he wasn't just resurrected to die again, but to live forever. Christians from a broad spectrum of denominations made use of the service to pray for the country as it continues to bear the brunt of the COVID-19 pandemic. Their majesties were represented by His Royal Highness Prince Lonkokhela. The service was also graced by their Royal Highnesses Bantu Benkosi. Pastors delivered passion-driven sermons, and these were Lungile Nkomo, Bishop Paul Shabango, and Apostle Madudu Mabuza. The first speaker to mount the pulpit was Lungile Nkomo, who unpacked the meaning of the ascension of Jesus Christ.
Kwenyuka kwa Jesu ulandzela emagama kwekuthi kuphelele. Bese awuphelelisile umsebenzi lebekawutele emhlabeni. Kude nakunye lokwakumele akwende emhlabeni langazange akwende. Ngakho kwenyuka kwakhe kwakusho ukuthi sowuqedzile lokulebeka kutele lapha emhlabeni.
Bishop Paul Shabangu said the source of a Christian's power should be God and God alone.
La mandla the power lokufanele wathole avela kumdali lo wadala tibane tekhanyisa telizulu.
Apostle Madudu Mabuza implored Emaswati to avoid taking for granted the special grace of God which is upon Eswatini, the chosen nation of God.
Celebrate the 25 December. Bekungasilo lelilanga lekuqala. What angakadalwa besavele safile. What angakafi besavela vukile thuneni. What angakavula swete thuneni uyasavela senyukele kwesokunene saNkulunkulu uyasabeka uyikhonyama wembethe amandla wambatha njengengubo usuka emaphakatheni emaphakatheni emehlo akhe avutha njengesidlwana emlonyeni yakhe kusuka imisebe lilanga uyaneka umbane etandleni takhe kusuka imisebe lilanga tinwele takhe timhlophe tinjengangokwani ingane unyawo lwentakhe inyawo takhe fana neligolide nelithuse ledlulise emlilweni elukhala lakho ubethe iqiniso wambatha kulungane kwethembeke akanayo inkhohliso akasiphathanga sithuni seguquka akasiyo yona inthothana yemuntu uNkulunkulu waphakathe uJehova sebawodwa thanini uyasabeka namhlanje ebusele asimemete thanini uyasabeka uNkulunkulu uyasabeka.
The service ended on a high note when Melile Gwebu led a highly charged prayer session. She rallied the congregation to pray and ask God to fight for the country and to expose wicked strategies that could be devised against it. The congregants further went on to pray for their majesties and the entire country. On the news, I am Sandile Makanya reporting for Eswatini TV News at the National Church in Lobamba.
On behalf of His Majesty King Mswati III, the acting Prime Minister Themba Masuku has met the King of Lesotho, King Letsie III, to relay a special message from His Majesty King Mswati III. Masuku met King Letsie at the Lesotho Royal Palace, where they held private talks early on the day. Masuku met his Lesotho counterpart, His Excellency Dr. Mokgweetsi Majoro, in a courtesy call to discuss the further strengthening of ties between the kingdoms as they share the same cultural values. The acting PM is in Lesotho on His Majesty King Mswati III's command to deliver a special message. Speaking during the meeting at Basotho Government Complex, Masuku said both countries have worked hard to ensure the development of their people. Zephaniah Nkambule has been elected the new Mbabane mayor in an election that was held on Wednesday evening at the council's chambers. Nkambule won by a majority, getting 6 votes, and his opponent, former mayor Sikhumbuzo Dube, received 4 votes.
Every year, municipality councils hold mayorship elections. On Wednesday evening, the Mbabane City Council held the elections where Zephaniah Nkambule won by majority, gaining 6 votes, and his opponent, former Mayor Sikhumbuzo Dube, obtained 4 votes. 10 councillors cast the ballot. Nkambule says as he takes office, he wants to focus on working with different stakeholders to bring development to the city. He says it is important to work with the residents as the City Council embarks on projects of development. He calls for patience and collective efforts in order for the projects in the council to be a success. Nkambule continues to say with COVID-19 still posing challenges in development, it is important that all resources are pulled together to fast-track projects planned by the council. Nkambule, who has been holding the position of deputy mayor, will be in office for a year. The deputy mayor position went to Thandayena Mkhonda. Last year, there were no elections due to COVID-19. Sikhumbuzo Dube held the mayorship position for 2 years. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Nelson Dlangamandla with Muzi Mkhonda in Mbabane.
The acting Minister for Justice, Polile Shakantu, says there is a committee that has been gazetted which will manage the 2 ex-miners hospitals in the kingdom and also assess the health of all ex-miners for them to be compensated. Eswatini TV's Nelson Dlangamandla has a report.
Following numerous complaints by the Exminers Association that their grievances are not given priority by government, the acting Minister of Labour and Social Security, Polile Shakantu, says the ministry is doing all it can to ensure that their plight and those that are still in the mines in the Republic of South Africa is addressed.
We know that there was a 5 billion settlement kule case lebe khona South Africa. Kune maswati ke la kumele a benefit kuleyo settlement. Sekwakhiwe ke isikhwama bahlonishwa lesingisona ke isikhwama eMaswati atawubhadalwa kiso. There's about 7,000 weMaswati that will likely benefit from that fund.
The minister says there is a 5 billion rand settlement in South Africa involving ex-miners. She says a fund has been established and eMaswati will benefit too. She continues to say there is a committee that has been gazetted which is made up of officials from the ministry and ex-miners who will facilitate the process of opening clinics where the ex-miners will be examined. The minister further says the health reports obtained from the clinics will then facilitate the process of the ex-miners benefiting from the fund. She further says experts from South Africa will come to the country to accredit the clinics which are in Manzini and Hlatikulu. The minister continues to say that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is planning to hold meetings to look into the welfare of the about 5,000 truck drivers who are in that country to ensure that they do their work with ease. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, Nelson Dlangamandla, Zuluini.
Nomchele Msibi, a midwifery final year student at the Southern Africa Nazarene University, encourages pupils who are still in school to take midwifery as a course upon completing high school because there is a need for midwives in Eswatini. She says it calls for patience and dedication to the field of midwifery.
On Tuesday, midwives celebrated the World Midwifery Day at the Mountain Inn in Mbabane. Amongst the attendees was Nomchele Msibi, a final-year midwifery student at the Southern Africa Nazarene University, who is currently doing her practicals in one of the hospitals in Mbabane. Nomcele encourages pupils to consider midwifery as a course because she has seen that there is a gap in as far as midwives are concerned and a need for more.
Midwifery is very amazing, although sometimes there's times where you feel there's more pressure and there's more something to learn and cover in a short space of time, but we are capable to do so. So if you do wish to do midwifery, I would encourage you to just apply yourself and go on and enroll in such a course. We learn a lot of things. We cover so much ground in midwifery. I myself have learned to deliver a live neonate or a healthy baby. I know and I can manage any woman who comes to a facility to actually deliver a child so that at the end of the day everyone is happy. So we cover such in midwifery, the core of it all, and I would just encourage everyone to say you become a bridge, to say you bring lives into earth while you avert immortality and morbidity rate. So it is actually a rewarding experience. It is actually a rewarding profession.
She says by so doing, the high rate of infant mortality and maternal mortality rate will decrease in the country. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Kian Msibi, Mbabane.
The National Police Commissioner, William Dlamini, has assured the nation that the police force will ensure that the officers who are seen allegedly assaulting a man in a widely circulated video on social media face disciplinary measures within the force. In a press statement, Dlamini says under no circumstances should police officers treat citizens in such a manner.
This week, media platforms were flooded with a video of the police allegedly apprehending an alleged suspect using what could be termed brutal force. The National Police Commissioner, William Dlamini, has condemned this act in the strongest possible terms, saying it is against the code of conduct of the force. He says the conduct by the officers shows a complete disregard of respect for citizens. He continues to say there is no justification for such behavior from the police despite what could have happened on the ground. The National Commissioner further says police officers are trained to be always calm and exercise restraint as they exercise their duties. He promises that the police will bring the officers to book once the investigation they recently launched has been finalized. He says this will be done within the laws and regulations that govern the police. He gave a stern warning to the police force to stop using strong language and violence against citizens, as this erodes the trust Eswatini have on the force and ruins its reputation. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Nelson Ngamandla in Mbabane.
In a bid to ensure that young people's businesses are provided with seed capitals, Junior Achievement, together with UNFPA, has founded an Angel Investors Program initiative. According to JA's communications and marketing specialist Pesihle Mkhonda, this program will support about 50 viable businesses.
Junior Achievement, together with UNFPA, founded the Angel Investors Program, which is aimed at providing seed capital for viable businesses that are by the youth. Pesihle Mkhonda, the Junior Achievements Communications and Marketing Specialist, says UNFPA has identified JA as a service provider under this program. Mkhonda outlines the requirements of being part of the program.
Sitoklomelisa labantwana startup capitals, so seed capitals for their businesses. UNFPA sisemkhankasweni wokuthi sisite umuntu lomusha mhlambe lo 1000 atikhanze asa exposed at inventable sexual reproductive but khanze sebangene kuma drugs, so si provide entrepreneurship thine kuvala lesikhala sekuthi umuntu lomusha ngatikhanza mhlambe seka abusekile ngendlela lethide.
Mkhonda says young people who are interested need to have at least attended JA trainings in the past. She says one needs to have a business idea that is viable and be between the ages of 18 years to 35.
Longa kakhoni ke university, longa kakhoni kwenda anything nangabe unayo le business le innovative lo cabanga ukuthi futhi itawuba nelikusasa uyakhona apply.
According to the COVID-19 economic recovery plan by the government of Eswatini, says young people make 37.5% of the country's population. Such initiatives will ensure that young people are able to create job opportunities for themselves. For Eswatini TV News, Ndablangen with Mkhonda in Manzini.
Mochane constituency has been without electricity for over a month, which has halted the constituency's projects. The constituency headman Nigel Shongwe says they reported suspected fault, but they have not been assisted.
A missing cable wire that connects to a transformer that is suspected to have been stolen by unknown people at Mochane constituency has resulted to a halting of all the constituency's projects, and various SMEs who operate under the same building who are now forced to use generators, which has since become expensive for them. They've been without electricity for over a month now. The Mochane constituency headman Nigel Shongwe says he has reported the matter to the electricity company, but they have not been assisted so far.
Ngaphinza futhi ngalithatha le thuba ngabiyela emagesini ngafika ngasike sengicela ukukhuluma nemphathi bangilayela babemamba sahamba sakhuluma naye emagesini kwakumsombuluko lendiveke eliphelile wathi hayi shoke ngitawufika ngalesibili bo after lunch.
He says at first he reported the matter telephonically, but he ended up physically going to the Mbabane headquarters where he was not assisted several times. He says he was told they would come to attend to the matter, but they haven't, which now frustrates them. When contacted about the matter, the Eswatini Electricity Company Communications Officer Kaya Mavuso asked that the concerned persons should once again come to the headquarters to have a deeper discussion on this. He asked that they bring with them the ref number that a customer is always given. The constituency headman denies having ever given that ref number. The electricity company communications officer says they told them that the landlord must pay for the missing piece of pipe or cable. If it is a government structure, they know what to do. He emphasizes that there is no way the company wouldn't assist them as customers. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Kian Msibi, Mochane.
Good evening once again. You are still watching Eswatini TV. Here's a look at our sports news. The under-20 athletics national team have left the country for Botswana to take part in the Botswana's national championships this coming Saturday. The team head coach Muzi Mabuza says the tournament will assist athletes to be able to gain international exposure since it is their first ever international competition. Fabrice Musonera has more.
4 athletes under the age of 20 have left the country to Botswana to take part in the Botswana's national championships. Team head coach Muzi Mabuza believes the opportunity will boost the youngsters' confidence as they'll be representing the Kingdom of Eswatini for the very first time in their history.
So these guys are all under 20 and they've been training together for the past 2 years. So now we're giving them the opportunity to go and start on the long-term journey. So this is their first international competition that they're going to go to, and we hope they are going to learn a lot from it. And I'm sure they're looking forward to it. And as a federation and myself as a coach, I'm looking forward to gauge them against the international big name.
The athletes are Ayanda Malaza, Menzi Mbongeni, Menzi Msibi, and Lihle Ginitza. Menzi Msibi, who spoke on behalf of the athletes, highlighted the team's excitement ahead of their trip to Gaborone.
The country so once local if against outside.
A senior 100 and 200 meter female sprinter Pumlile Ziniza has been also invited for the championship. Ziniza believes this indeed is another chance to showcase what she does the best as she prepares for more international competitions.
African senior champs and then Stubegele Segma Olympics.
Another top athlete by the name of Subsoma Tsenja will be leaving the country this Friday, but on contrary heading to Zambia for their national championships invitation. For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabrice Musonera, Manzini.
Well, Eswatini, that's all we had for you this evening. Before we conclude, let's have a relook at our top stories. Congregants who were part of the Ascension Day Service prayed for their majesties and for the country to conquer all prevailing challenges. The acting Prime Minister Tema Masuku has delivered a message to King of the Lesotho nation, King Letsi III. The acting Minister for Labour has appointed a committee that will manage Exminers Hospital in the Kingdom. And with that, we sum up our bulletin for the evening. Up next is the weather update from myself and the crew here at Eswatini TV. Thank you for watching. Good night.